made the mistake of not drinking coffee before getting on the bus from Malacca towards Singapore. I ended up getting a massive headache, and so when I arrived in the city, I had to rest in my hotel room before exploring. So my first impressions of the city were at nighttime. Looking back, I'm so glad I didn't skip Singapore. I thought about it because I clearly had the wrong idea of this place, thinking it was way too artificial for my own taste. And of course, it's also very expensive at European London level prices. So I had my doubts on whether I should go. But looking back, I definitely don't regret it. I spent 3 nights in there and I wish I had more time. I love the city so much that I could see myself living there. The only issue is definitely the heat. It's incredibly hot and humid. But the city is modern, super clean, and I've never felt this safe walking at night by myself, even with my AirPods on, blasting some music. For some reason, my body knew, and it was comfortable walking around, even in deserted areas, by myself in a strange place. Singapore might be an expensive place, but there's lots you can do for free, and one of those things is definitely visiting the super trees at night. You only pay to go at the top, and every night they do absolutely marvelous music shows with synchronized lighting, and it's stunning. Even though it's free, the show is a far cry away from all of the tacky light shows that I had seen through my travels so far in Southeast Asia. This is really well done, really top-notch level, and I was so impressed that I was feeling emotional. They played beautiful opera music, and it was really nicely synchronized with the lights in the trees. So I'll leave you here with a sneak peek. On the next day, I was doing a walking tour, and one of the first places I discovered was this cocktail bar over here. This sits in Parkview Square, which is a block of really luxurious offices, and of course, this really amazing bar. The tour itself was on the Muslim quarter of Singapore called Kampung Glam. The Muslim quarter of Singapore is incredibly colorful, and the majestic Sultan's Mosque really steals the scene. All streets converge to the Sultan's Mosque, and these narrow streets were where up to the middle of the 20th century traders, artisans, and merchants sold their goods with a particular emphasis on textiles. This place was named Galam after the galam tree, which was abundant in the area and valued for its timber and medicine oil. Kampung means village in Malay, taking us back to the times when this was a small community of locals cultivating their own businesses, culture, and customs, a mixture of Malay, Arab, and Islamic traditions. This was designated as a Malay Muslim quarter in the early 19th century by Sir Stamford Raffles, the founder of modern Singapore. This takes me to its royal ties. The Malay Sultanate lived here. The British had signed a treaty with the Sultan granting them control over Singapore, whilst the Sultan and his family retained domain over Kampung Glam. When I was in Malaysia, a Malaysian lady had told me how Singapore only cared about what's new. But I couldn't disagree more. After visiting Singapore, I can tell you without a doubt, it really cares about conserving the history of every single ethnicity that has passed through and has contributed to what the country is today. The buildings are all really well preserved, and I think Singapore actually strikes the perfect balance between investing in modern architecture and also keeping the tradition of its people alive. I also visited the Singapore Botanic Gardens, which is free to visit. It's basically a massive public park. However, do bear in mind some things inside you do have to pay a ticket to visit, including the very famous National Orchid Garden, which actually is the main reason why these gardens have had a UNESCO World Heritage Site status. Whilst I don't think it's an essential visit in Singapore, if you have the time, I recommend. It's a great opportunity to be around nature and have a break from the bustling city center. I didn't want to miss seeing the super trees during the day. Even though at night is of course a lot more magical, I wanted to have the daytime perspective as well. I also had to go to the Marina Bay shopping center just to see how it was like, and well, there's a canal inside where you can take boat trips. Why would you want to take a boat trip inside a shopping center? I don't know, but you know, there are tastes for everything, and I don't judge. I did another walking tour, this time around in the Chinatown, which is another very vibrant part of Singapore with stunning restored shop houses, lots of shops, restaurants and cafes. But today's Chinatown is a stark contrast to what it was in its origins, and my guide was a living witness of those times. He told us in great detail what it was like to grow up there, sharing a floor with multiple families without privacy, nothing like bathrooms or any hygiene conditions. In its early days, impoverished Chinese immigrants arrived and established in this part of Singapore. They were of course looking for better conditions, but most of them were indentured laborers who had been brought from China to work in plantations and mines. Still, the Chinese community is very well known for being incredibly resilient. They established clan associations, schools and temples, and the area eventually began to prosper as business and trade flourished. Nowadays, the squalid conditions of the past are only a memory that is likely passed from generation to generation, the same way the guide passed it on to us. By visiting today, you would never imagine how grim it all was just a few decades ago. This is one of the most charming districts of Singapore, and it really speaks to the resilience and hard work of the Chinese community, an essential part of the Singaporean identity. In front of Marina Bay, there is another amazing music and light show in the water, and again, it did not disappoint. That was my activity for my last night in the city. My flight was only at the end of the day, so I still had the full day and I decided to spend my morning in the National Gallery of Singapore. Art is incredibly important to me, and I feel when you're visiting a gallery, whether you're looking at paintings or sculptures or photography or textiles, whatever it is, those pieces of work are going to reflect the feelings, the experiences of the times when these were created. And those are really the kind of wealth of insights and learnings that I like to bring home with me after traveling. I give 5 stars to the National Gallery of Singapore. The collection is really nicely curated. It's beautiful. You really find a diversity of artists and styles that is outstanding. So if you like art and you have some extra time, definitely don't skip this place. The Changi Airport of Singapore is in itself a whole attraction, so definitely go early to the airport on your way back or on your way to any other destination you might going to, and don't forget checking out the HSBC Rain Vortex. Is the world's tallest indoor waterfall. It cascades 40 meters from an oculus in the glass roof into a terraced indoor forest called the Shiseido Forest Valley. It's amazing. I have to say, it's absolutely fantastic. Do be ready to get a little bit wet if you get close to it. The airport continued to be amazing. As I walked to my terminal to wait for my flight, I was absolutely in awe with how luxurious and comfortable it was and how much detail is put into everything. I loved Singapore. I wanted to stay longer, but the Philippines were waiting. So for today, this is everything, and I'll see you on my next video. Bye!